here we are. It is now almost officially October of 2020. Can you believe it? Can you believe this year is almost over? Yes, I would say the paradigm has shifted, and as we hit October 1st, full moon in Aries comes in and it completely changes the game. We are completely seeing a different form that this cardinal energy of 2020 is operating through, and we are waking up to a lot of new shifts. Hi everyone, and welcome back. My name is Sky, and I'm here today to talk about the full moon in Aries and the way that it practically resounds through every single transit that we are having in the sky right now. This is like a catalyst series of days that we have that completely reworks the long-standing conclusions that we've drawn about this triple Capricorn conjunction that we've had all year. I've made a lot of videos leading up to this about the other transits going on, which I will link below and in the top right-hand corner of this video if you want to get some context. I was coming to the conclusion in some of my previous videos that yes, the Jupiter-Saturn-Pluto stationary direct conjunction in Capricorn is certainly the most overarching theme for this year, but I was starting to see that Mars retrograde alongside of it was really giving it a different flavor, and this full moon in Aries that we get to in the beginning of October is going to really set that into motion and catalyze a new version of this year and of what we're feeling. So yes, as we know, 2020 has been a very trying, difficult year for many people. You know, on the world stage, we've been going through things that we could never have anticipated. A lot of our limits have been tested. A lot of our wherewithal has been tested. It's been a very survival-oriented year, and that's what Mars is all about. It's all about survival of the fittest, the cinematic and exciting blood-pumping ideas of survival. So right as we come into the month of October, on the very first day, having the very first sign represented by the full moon and by Mars, we are completely starting over in new ways. We are completely looking at our livelihoods, our needs to survive, and our context thus far, and deciding how we want to move forward. I've talked a lot about how this Libra season is so much about the important decisions of life, the important need to understand the higher scope of your vision, the higher scope of what you can accomplish. And it has really ignited new purpose in so many of us to start to work with that. And that's where this becomes front and center. So October 1st and October 2nd especially, the purpose that has been building and building becomes magnified in a new way, and there are a few catalyst experiences that lead us to do what we need to do to understand the new breadth of purpose coming in. There are a lot of things that I want to talk about. I've made a brief outline because there's so many things to cover with how this has impact in so many different places in the sky. I'm going to talk first and foremost about the full moon because that is the theme of this video, and then I will link it to the other transits and give some allegorical interpretation of what that could mean for many of us. So full moon in Aries, this is about the blooming of new opportunities. This time of the year, because there's always a full moon in Aries at this time of the year, always becomes about the new potential that we've seen through what did not work, or through what was not right for us, or through what fell through, as we've just come from full moon in Pisces last month. The last full moon was a full moon in Pisces, so it showed the blooming of an ending. It showed the ending phase. It showed the most, concentrated form of ending energy. And emotionally, we just had to let that be and allow those deep waves to coalesce and show us our new possibilities, which concentrate in this moon a month later. So all of a sudden, we might have done a lot of hard work to try to make something work, or we might have, really tried to, hold something through and keep something alive, kind of doing CPR on all of these long-running aspects of our lives, all of these old contexts, trying to, squeeze all of the life out of them and yet keep them alive. That's very prevalent right now. But as the full moon in Aries comes in, there's all of a sudden this completely new path that does show itself, this completely new purpose, this completely new potential that actually, with the context of the Capricorn energy of Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, bridges the gap between our old previous context and the new purpose in front of us. So what this time is really best for, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd especially, is a time to just find excitement for the future. Find the excitement of new territory, pioneering a completely new idea and a completely new version of what your essential soul energy could look like. So yeah, it's kind of like Wild West territory where many of us are setting new trends, setting new potentials, really considering what the end of the tunnel looks like. You know, a lot of us have been moving through this like very linear path, as it is Libra season, and it's so cardinal. We've got, you know, Libra season, moon in Aries, all the Capricorn energy. All that we're lacking really is Cancer. So we're kind of lacking the emotional, the cardinal emotional foundation for some of these goals. So a lot of us might sort of be going into territory where we're like, okay, I don't really have a foundation for what I want, but I know that I want it. I know that I need it. I know that it's right for me. And we start to bridge that gap with the introduction of this full moon. So it will be really interesting to see how different things are from like September 2nd of 2020 to like November 2nd of 2020. This 2-month gap feels to like really dramatically change the game for so many people. But at a mundane level, what is really good for the full moon in Aries is to just allow yourself the potential, you know, regardless of what some of these realities are, regardless of what some of these contexts are. It's really important to give yourself the freedom to visualize how things could change or where you could take a certain status quo of your life to, you know, what new things that you might have no context with are, you know, burgeoning on the horizon. You know, there's sort of something like that, and a lot of us don't feel like it can work, or we don't have the confidence to make that happen. You know, Mars is also retrograde in its home sign of Aries with this full moon. So what that means is that there's a hesitation, or there is a tendency instead to look backwards or to try to find, you know, again, the contextual component of what we've been working for a long time. And I think that the full moon is actually urging us just a little bit to, you know, step out on a limb just a little bit, or to make it possible for ourselves to, you know, go big or go home. That's kind of what this is all about. And yes, I do definitely advise caution, and it's not good to like have a gambler's mentality or to just jump headfirst into things, but it's good to consider what we don't like anymore, or what we don't feel is authentic anymore, the way that we have changed. There's always a really big transformation between Pisces and Aries, as this is like the death and rebirth phase of the zodiac. So yeah, it's super possible that everybody has something that was absolutely right for them for so long and just was incredible to have as a sole focus for so long. But now, even though maybe it's built to a more structural height than it's ever been before, it's no longer the central focus anymore. And there is a need. In fact, there's an urge from the cosmos, I would say, to step into new territory, but to do it cautiously, okay? And to do it right, and to do it well, and to do it in a tried and true way. To be very calculated, to be very smart, logical, and clear on what things should and shouldn't be, but to then also consider the brand new horizon that does offer. And I mean, having the full moon and Mars together is going to be incredible, and also obviously very visible in the sky. That's something else to take into account with some of these major transits we're having, is that they are all visible to the naked eye in the sky. This full moon, Mars retrograde in Aries, Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn are visible. Pluto is not visible to the naked eye, but it's there. And that really does add an extra layer of significance to all of this, because they're square, you know? So you'll be able to look up into the sky and you'll be able to see the moon and Mars, and then 90 degrees, you'll be able to see Jupiter and Saturn, and it's all going to look very incredible. But also Mars is at parhelion apparition, which means that it's the brightest body in the sky that is visible right now. So the full moon is obviously going to be brighter, but Mars is going to be like this red glowing orb in the sky, which is going to, I think, really focus Mars. And again, that's the download that I was getting as I was reflecting on some of the transits right now, is that yes, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto are the overarching collective experience right now, but Mars is more front and center. So yeah, how we energize ourselves, how we find inspiration, motivation, and purpose, the nature of our impulses right now, these are really the front and center things. And we have to take a look back, okay, at where we've gotten our energy, at maybe some of the vices that we've had, at the impulses that we followed through, and how that's been a positive or negative result in the more long-term aspect of our lives now. Because this square is so significant. So Mars being in square to Jupiter and Saturn is really making it more long-term. It's making us look more long-term back at these impulses that we've had, or the things that we've prioritized, or the things that we've pioneered, the new aspects of our lives that we've pioneered and come into and received and claimed as well, what we've claimed, what we lay claim to. All of these things are very front and center, and we have to kind of look and decide and utilize this full moon in Aries energy to decide if we like to kind of continue on this route, or take what we've claimed and maybe use it in the most appropriate way to forge a new path, as that feels very auspicious in a way. Okay, so I want to talk about a new topic that I've not talked about at all yet on my channel, and I'm excited to bring this up to you guys. What we also have is Mars conjunct the minor asteroid of Eris, okay? And I don't talk a lot about asteroids on my channel. I know some of you have requested for me to talk more about them, so I'm going to talk about this because I do find this to be very significant as well. So, yes, it's true. We have the goddess of discord in complete conjunction with the god of war, Mars. So we have a discordant type of war mentality that could really be detectable in everyone. There's maybe a cathartic element to many things in life right now with this conjunction, where if we're dissatisfied or if we're unhappy with where we found ourselves, maybe we're content to just throw a lot of things away, or to just destroy the long-running aspects of our life. That's something that I feel very strongly is sort of a thanatos, okay? For those of you who are familiar with the ideas of Eros and Thanatos, we have sort of the death drive aspect pumping up with this conjunction, and also having Pluto moving station, moving direct on October 4th. So we go from October 1st to October 4th, having a lot of things. Okay, so we have Mars at perihelion apparition, retrograde in Aries, conjunct Eris. We have the full moon in Aries. We have Mercury moving into its retrograde shadow in Scorpio, also a Mars-ruled sign. And we have Pluto moving to station and move direct in the very last degrees of Capricorn. Saturn has moved direct in Capricorn, and Jupiter has moved direct in Capricorn. If we can fathom the amount of long-term momentum that is brewing inside of us, and the need, also perhaps subconscious in some, to wield that in a destructive way, we have to be able to realize that if that's happening, is there a desensitization happening? Is there a enjoyment of chaos or discord or worry in other people? Is there an enjoyment of seeing others failing? Is there a new societal tendency or trend that really enjoys to see destruction from the comfort of their own home? That's sort of what I feel with that conjunction. And also, a lust for revenge, or a lust for, really proving our individual power to another person, without realizing that to do it, or to realize it, or to manifest it, or to taste that discord in your own vicarious comfort is then to also destroy yourself from the inside. So we have this sort of like self-destructive tendency that is masked over by a laughter or a nonchalance to the chaos many miles away, or as seen through a screen, or the pleasure or warmth, or the difference in emotion and attraction and manifestation that you're seeing through the screen versus what's in your real life, and how those things then merge together. What we have now is, again, bridging the gap. We're bridging the gap to what we want, to what we enjoy to witness, what we enjoy to pull into our lives. And no longer is it going to be so much where we, from the comfort of our own homes or the comfort of our own couches, watch the chaos and discord from afar. We bridge the gap now. So if we're wanting to see a lot of chaos, or if we're, enjoying the failures or the discontentment or the discord of another person, it's going to start to come in. Okay. So while you laugh at another going through a torturous experience, you might open your door the next day to walk into a very similar experience, okay? Because it's like law of attraction, we are what we eat. So with that in mind, it's an incredible time during this full moon in Aries to maybe revamp what we are consuming, whether this be food or media or satire or whatever it is, because there's something very satirical about this energy too. Full moon in Aries conjunct Mars and Eris. There's something very theatrical. There's something very put on. There's something festive about chaos. Okay, the festivities of chaos, the party of it all, so it's good to keep that in mind and to think about, okay, also on the other hand, how can I make this more fun? I think that Mars and Eris conjunct in Aries just want to have fun. They just want an adventure. They just want something to really latch onto and to party through with it. So instead of maybe trying to consume this from the peace or tranquility of our own couch or home, maybe it's good to get out into the world. Maybe it's good to go hiking, or to get more physical, or to start running, or to really start exercising with this, to really channeling these energies in new ways. And yes, maybe having an enjoyable get together, or having a nice sense of camaraderie could be good. So I kind of feel like Mars and Eris together are the ultimate sense of camaraderie and the ultimate sense of unity through a higher purpose, but through a purpose, it's kind of like, what would I say? It's kind of like the union of thieves, or the union of, people coming together to enjoy a type of, common goal. So yeah, it's quite political as well, and it's very kind of like Final Fantasy stuff too. So it's kind of crazy what 2020 is turning into, as it is almost like something out of a dystopian novel, because that's what these energies together are really like, especially with that square to the Capricorn energy. You have a very extreme, like, dystopian sense of power struggle happening, and the way that the individual average, ordinary person interacts with that, I think needs to be more like physical instead of through the screen so much, because we've got a weird thing with Neptune too being completely disinvolved, Neptune being completely out of all of this, where there's still that theme though. Neptune and Uranus are still working, but they're very separate to all of this. So we've got that sort of social media fogginess as well that is a component, but very outside of all of this. And some of us are very still invested in that area of energy. So I would say get more body centric. Okay. What an incredible time to start a new exercise regime. That's so perfect for right now. And to also just revamp what your day looks like, even coming from Virgo season still. Like, we're in Libra season now, but Virgo season is still kind of pleading with us to make the day-to-day more enjoyable. And with this transit, it can really become like a purpose, or it can become very much bigger than just, the mundane, daily, boring thing. It's like, okay, I'm working for something bigger. I'm really going to change my body or transform my body. A great time to have like a workout partner, or to have a sense of camaraderie in whatever your goals are, people that can cheer each other on. It's a great time for camaraderie for sure. What I'll talk about next is to just add the other cardinal layer onto this is the fact that the sun in Libra is also applying up to this, creating a bit of a T-square. And of course, the new moon in Libra will then take this to another level. But what that says to me is just, again, really keeping an eye on any erraticism. What are the erratic aspects of your life? What are the, things that are like really extreme, feeling really excited for something one day and then really dreading it the next day, really struggling to find a middle ground, any type of, running really hot then running really cold, bipolarity, any type of polarity, any type of erraticism, and I've talked quite a bit about it in the previous videos, has to really be seen as maybe a cry for help, or a need to have something new or different in your life, or perhaps a lack of camaraderie or a lack of others in your life, because we are in the 7th house right now with the sun. So we are focusing on the others in our lives, not just ourselves. And we've really been building ourselves up. We've really been focusing on individual capacity. And that can get over-focused too sometimes. So on one hand, the full moon in Aries with Mars retrograde, we have to take a new look at ourselves, okay? We have to see ourselves in a new way. We have to work with ourselves in a new way, in a more productive way, and also see the backward way that we've worked with ourselves, or the way that we've looked at ourselves through our own, accountability or our own progress, and see how that might have gotten a little bit retrograde with Mars retrograde also there. And then through that, we need to really allow an evolution to happen in the way that we are holding ourselves and in the way that we are looking at ourselves individually. But with the sun in Libra coming to oppose that, it says that there's more energy also in other people. So working with others, group mentality, having a team, having camaraderie, as I was saying, it seems to be a vital aspect of this time. So for those of us who are more hermit-like, for those of us who have been more solitary, as most of us are this year, it is 2020, with social distancing and everything, most of us have become much more solitary. There's something to be said for the need of others right now, okay? The need to connect with others. So I would definitely advise to at least be talking to people on the phone, even if you're still staying in, even if there's still social distancing going on, how can you be in communication with others, family, but especially people who are like friends, like comrades. That's more what it is. It's not about romantic relationships as much. I mean, for some people it is, especially, intimate relationships can be focused, but that's not really where we're getting a lot of healing, and we have to be careful with that also with Mars retrograde. Whenever Mars or Venus is retrograde, it's not a great time to have a new romantic relationship, or to change too much with the romantic relationships, or to seek new partners or anything like that. Mars or Venus retrograde is usually not a successful time for that. So yes, I'm feeling that it does more so focus on friends and comrades. I will say, what an awesome time to make a new friend. Platonic relationships feel to be huge. And then also, yes, like networking, like business relationships, or having relations with, people who can be like a team member for you, or working towards a common goal. That feels really inspiring and motivating for a lot of people right now. And it feels like that gets stronger and stronger with this, okay? You got to make sure you're doing it right, though, okay? So the legitimacy of what you're doing is another huge factor of this time. And that's how the Capricorn energy plays into this. There is a difficulty there. There's a struggle about the legitimacy of what we do, or what we want to lay claim to right now, or what we are striving to do with camaraderie, or with teamwork, or with group mentality. The legitimacy of that feels to be found in a roundabout way. So it's not so direct, it's not so easy, but there's a progression, and it's possible, and it will really be emboldening and strengthening to teamwork goals. But I would think about it. I would really try to focus more on the legitimacy of what we're doing, and on the long-term implications of what we're doing. And I know that can kind of freak a lot of people out right now. Again, it's at a square, so it's not something that feels natural. Again, if we had like Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in Aquarius, like it will be next year, with this Aries stuff, it would feel much easier to legitimize and to structure everything that we're doing. But right now, it just feels like a risk. Okay, there's a risky sense to, structuring a business or taking a relationship to the next level, or, trying to really get involved in a cause or anything like that. It feels, something about it we'll have like weird gut feelings with. So gut feelings, I'll talk a little bit about gut feelings before I wrap up here. You have to kind of watch out for them. I feel with this square, there are also misleading gut feelings, okay? Just because something is a little bit outside of a current status quo, we can get super freaked out about it, okay? And maybe that gut feeling is appropriate, but also maybe we need to forge anew. We need a new territory. I'm not saying to not listen to your gut. I'm not saying that, any type of intuitive worry or any type of fear towards something is not warranted. But I would definitely also consider the last 10 or 11 months and the difference in life or the difference in living that might also be having an impact on instincts right now, and the transition that we go through to start to adapt to a way of life that is not understood yet. It definitely has an impact on how we intuit our next goals or how we work toward the future. So it is important to listen to gut instincts, but to really take a logistic and legitimate, integrity-based understanding of how far we've come, what we're working with, what our context is, what new things we want, and how those things come together. And the fact that, we probably can't just throw things away right now, and we have to really use what we've been given, but we can still know that we want new things. But at the same time, there's like a gap that has to be bridged, and we don't want to, just try to swim across the 10-mile ocean to get to the island. It's better to cross the bridge that's right there instead of trying to swim it. Taking these types of things into account is really important. And kind of understanding that things are probably fine. The universe is probably really working with us to help guide us through. So, and it does oftentimes use our gut feelings to indicate what is and is not the right path. So it is what it is, a negative gut feeling right now doesn't mean that it's wrong, but it probably is a sign that you're wanting different things. But it doesn't mean that it's really wrong or a problem. But important to consider why you're not so happy with where you are. So that's just kind of a channeled dialogue that came through. But yes, is there anything else that I want to talk about? I'll talk just a little bit about Mercury preparing to go retrograde. And that's not happening till October 14th, I believe it is. But it's in shadow right now. So that's a big aspect of this too. Mercury in shadow in Scorpio, Mars's other sign. We have absolutely every single archetype of Mars shown in the sky right now. And retrograde too. So that sort of divine masculine might really be changing up and going back. And there might also be a lot of criticism towards men. Okay, that's just a very simple interpretation of that. There might be a lot of criticism toward masculine endeavors or what has been considered a masculine endeavor. But more clearly and more succinctly, it's not even so much about that stuff. It's really about what we want, what we yearn for, what we move toward, what we try to really claim in life is getting a second look and maybe feeling really not right for us anymore. So that has to be seen, we can spend a lot of time with this Capricorn energy trying to keep things contextual, trying to keep on keeping on. And it is important to take into account, if that's just feeling wrong from so many directions, and it will be time, I think, to then really change up the game, but maybe not until New Year of 2021 when we get a lot more Aquarius energy will that really solidify or become the real manifested experience. But we're definitely catalyzing into a paradigm where we're going across that bridge for sure. And I didn't really think that this would be such a transitional time. I thought that this Capricorn direct energy would be more about just sitting comfortably on the foundation that we built for a long time. And I think people who are doing like the best and who have, you know, really energetically leveled up are there. Like that's really the pinnacle right now, is to have built it all, to already have all the structures in place, and to just sort of be sitting pretty for the next few months, like, and to feel comfortable and to not feel like that's wrong is the best thing we can give to ourselves right now. And the time will pass so quickly, and all of a sudden we'll be up for some new, like, really exciting adventures. And I would just encourage everyone to try to get there and to really keep things as peaceful, as, you know, self-empowered as possible, and realizing that there's way more power in the self than any of these external crazy things going on. And enjoy the structure of what you've built so far, and contemplating about how it could become new and how it could become even more exciting, you know. And with that Mercury shadow that we're in, we're going to really think differently about our context, and we're going to think very differently about what we've pushed so hard to think about and to, you know, represent in the world. All of that's going to really be seen differently. And of course, I'll talk more about the Mercury retrograde later, because that's not really what this video is for, but it is a component, you know. The shadow RX time during this full moon is really having us look just more emotionally at things, you know. Mercury is not really the key. It's not really about all of these ideas anymore. It's about what things are making us feel like and how that can help us to turn over a new leaf. But anyway, everyone, I think I will conclude on that note. I so hope that you've enjoyed this video about the full moon in Aries. I put it together really quickly because I realized that it was a pretty just incredible transit that we were having all of a sudden here, and I just had to talk about it. So thank you guys so much for being here, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notifications, like this, and comment below. Let me know how it resonated for you. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I've got a lot of new things going up over there, and it's a great way to support the channel. And I have new merch too, so yeah, really going big. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much, and enjoy this time. Keep things simple, keep things motivational, and enjoy your life. So I will talk to you soon. Much love. Bye.